the long journey's done when you welcome the traveler home. Welcome the traveler home. Out in this wide world we wander alone. Though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home. Seas they may billow, the winds they may rise, like ships on the deep far from shore. We look to the harbor, we look to the skies for the wide open heart and the wide open door. Now 5 years and 20 are gathered again. A harvest so ripe from the seeds we have sown. 5 and 20 years more, our spirits will soar as we welcome the traveler home. Welcome the traveler home. 'Cause out in this wide world we wander alone. Though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home. Though our ways twist and bend, we know in the end we will welcome the traveler home.
Thank you. And welcome everyone to this beautiful place on this gorgeous afternoon. I'm Esther Baker. I'm the Executive Director of the Iowa Lions Eye Bank, and I'm so glad you're all here today. I want to personally thank everyone, the donor families, the transplant recipients, hospital and university staff, Iowa Lions, special guests, and friends for attending our celebration of hope and renewal here in the Iowa Lions Donor Memorial and Healing Garden. This lovely oasis was constructed and dedicated in 2005, inspired by the many stories of courageous donors and their families, and it serves as a respite for the thousands of people who visit each year. We're gathered here today to honor those and celebrate those priceless gifts given through donation. These donors and their families remain the focus of everything we do at the Iowa Lions Eye Bank. The generosity of their loved ones, who donated eyes, organs, and tissues, has provided the gifts of sight, life, mobility, and health to countless recipients, as well as the gift of answers through valuable research and teaching. We also recognize and commend the work of all who facilitate and support the donation and transplantation process. Donation and transplant would not be possible without collaboration and partnerships with those who join us in our mission to restore and preserve sight. I'd like to take this opportunity to recognize our cornea transplant surgeons across Iowa, especially Dr. Mark Greiner, Dr. Jennifer Ling, and Dr. Christopher Salas here at UIHC, supportive clinical staff, the Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences, the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, the Lions Clubs of Iowa, the Iowa Donor Network, and the dedicated staff of the Iowa Lions Eye Bank. For 65 years, Iowa Lions Eye Bank has served the state of Iowa, restoring and preserving sight in Iowa, across the United States, and around the world. It's my sincere pleasure to make this first introduction. As CEO of the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, Suresh Gunasekaran oversees the operational, strategic, and financial performance of the University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics, a regional referral center that includes the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital. In his role as Associate Vice President, Mr. Gunasekaran works closely with UI healthcare leaders to advance the organization's three-part mission of patient care, biomedical research, and medical education and training. With more than 20 years of experience in healthcare administration and healthcare information technology, he joined UI Healthcare in November of 2018, and we are glad for it. We're extremely grateful for his presence here today. Suresh?
Good afternoon, everyone. Really glad that you're here. I want to welcome you to our house. It's one of the nicer parts of our house. Here, on the front lawn. We have always treasured this space, and we are so grateful to the Iowa Alliance iBank for their consistent support of our patients, of our community, and the state as a whole. But this is one place within our pretty busy environment that's pretty special, and we're so glad that you're here today to help us celebrate. I also want to welcome you to next door to Kinnick. We are undefeated. We are nationally ranked. There's someone here in the front row that I'm trying to help out. But it's early in the season. You know, we're ready to play Illinois, but you know, we'll stop there. But no, in all fairness, this is a place for all Iowans, and we're really happy everyone's here. On behalf of the entirety of the University of Iowa Healthcare, Vice President for Medical Affairs Brooks Jackson, and the entire leadership team, I want to extend a warm welcome to all of you. We're really pleased to have this opportunity each year to celebrate and honor the altruism and generosity of our donor families, the courage and the triumph of the recipients of this life-changing gift, and the dedication and stewardship the Lions Club shows throughout the state of Iowa. And finally, the unparalleled clinical expertise and compassionate care from the faculty and staff within our ophthalmology and transplant programs. We are so proud of a long-standing relationship that we've enjoyed with the Lions Club of Iowa. Through their collective efforts, they've developed this memorial garden with its inspirational message of hope and renewal for all UI healthcare patients. This garden was in fact created to pay tribute to Iowans who donated the ultimate gift of eyes, organs, and tissue. I think some of these facts are well known to the folks in this audience, but I think it's worth repeating. One eye donor can benefit 10 recipients. One organ donor can save up to 9 lives. One tissue donor can save and heal more than 75 lives. There's an incredible reach and legacy for these selfless donors, many of whose family members are here today. And at this time, I think it's also important to reflect on a personal level 2 things. One, we continue to be in the middle of a pandemic, and we continue to persevere and have amazing results. And it's based on this ethos of being able to help one another and the impact that you have on lives. And I would say even within these circumstances, I would still say what our donors have been able to do will continue to be recognized for years to come. And then the second piece that I would also indicate is on a personal level, my family has been impacted by the loss of vision and sight. And what I would tell you is that there's nothing like vision. Even if you have it limited in any manner, it reduces your quality of life, it reduces your mobility, it reduces your confidence. And that's something that I've seen within my own family. And so every year when we come to celebrate this, I can assure you I represent UI Healthcare, and I understand the impact of the donor activities to patients across the state of Iowa, but I also understand on a personal level how impactful this can be. In recognition of these contributions, I share gratitude for the members of the Lions Clubs of Iowa, the commitment and support of the nationally recognized Iowa Lions iBank. We are really blessed to have Esther and her team here supporting us in this state. It's a tremendous commitment across the state, tremendous work that is required behind the scenes and in front of the scenes to make this care possible. We also appreciate the efforts of the Iowa Donor Network, advancing our organ and tissue transplant programs on both the clinical and research fronts. At the University of Iowa Healthcare, we continue to see ever increasing volumes of transplants that we're able to do across multiple organ systems, and we are blessed to be to have partners such as the Iowa Alliance iBank as well as the Iowa Donor Network. There's also other good news to talk about. Also heartening to know that our Iowa's donor registry boasts 1.8 million registered donors. For a state that has 3 million citizens, a donor registry network that has 1.8 million registered donors, shows you the character and compassion of the state of Iowa. It also means there are 1.2 million friends that you can talk to. But it brings me to the most important thank you of all, the donor families that are among us today. You have our sincere appreciation and respect, and we hope you find solace knowing the donation that you've made has made such a meaningful difference. As we enjoy the garden and inspirational messages today, let's celebrate the contributions of those who help make the blessing of vision and life possible. Thank you.
Next, I'd like to call upon Christine Wagner-Hecht, who's one of our clinical interfaith chaplains in the Spiritual Services Department, providing spiritual support, care, and counsel to patients, family, and staff at UIHC. Her primary areas of care are in the University of Iowa Stead Family Children's Hospital and the Neonatal Intensive Care Unit. Today, she'll provide the invocation for our celebration of hope and renewal. Christine.
As we move into the invocation, I'd like to share a few words by Jan Richardson. Let it be. We will still ourselves enough to hear what may yet come to echo, as if in the breath another breathing, as if in the heartbeat another heart. Let it be. We will not try to fathom what comes to meet us in the stillness, but simply open to the approach of a mystery we hardly dared to dream. Will you pray with me? O great heart of the universe, we are thankful for this special time. We give thanks for the beauty of this day and for all gathered here. We are also mindful of those who were unable to be present right here today, but who are here in spirit and connected through love. We come full of such a mix of things: grief and loss, honor and memory, courage and connection, thankfulness and celebration. We ask that the tears and the grieving hearts be blessed, and we bless as well the smiles and the laughter and the feeling of us being one connected to another. As we remember those who gave such a generous gift in a most difficult time, and as we celebrate the hope and possibility given to recipients, and as we hold in our hearts the many, many lives touched and transformed, we simply ask for blessing and care. May we find comfort and strength in the meaning of these moments and the sharing of particular stories. May we find peace and ease and strength to move forward with hope and with generous love. Amen.
The Chameleons is a group of talented vocalists, instrumentalists, and staff, both past and present, from the University of Iowa hospitals and clinics. Together, they voluntarily share their love of music with patients, visitors, and staff of the hospital on select occasions throughout the year. Gratefully, one of them is this one. We're fortunate to have them here with us again today. Please welcome Gwen Sanio, Kirsten Nelson, Kim Hawkins, and Kathy Whiteside.
Listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead are not under the earth. They are in the rustling trees. They are in the groaning woods. They are in the crying grass. They are in the moaning rocks. The dead are not under the earth. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water. Those who have died have never, never left. The dead have a pact with the living. They are in the woman's breast. They are in the wailing child. They are with us in the home. They are with us in the crowd. The dead have a pact with the living. So listen more often to things than to beings. Listen more often to things than to beings. 'Tis the ancestors' breath when the fire's voice is heard. 'Tis the ancestors' breath in the voice of the water.
Thank you. Dianna Hamilton joins us from Mount Vernon, Iowa. She and her husband, Keegan, are the parents to 3 beautiful children, 2 active boys and 1 special little girl. In addition to being a busy mother, Dianna is a kindergarten teacher at Novak Elementary in the Linn-Mar Community School District. Like every mother, Dianna wants each of her children to enjoy a happy, healthy, and productive life. This afternoon, she will share the story of their youngest child, Claire, and her journey to restored sight through corneal transplant she received in both eyes at a very early age. Please welcome Dianna.
afternoon. She thought she should be able to come up here too. My name is Dianna Hamilton, and I live near Mount Vernon, just like Esther said, with my husband Keegan and our 3 young children. On behalf of my family, we thank the Iowa Lions Eye Bank for inviting us to be here and to share our story with all of you today. Our journey with the donation of life began for us when our 3rd child was born. Our daughter Claire was born on March 15th of 2018. Her pregnancy was a bit different than our previous 2, but nothing alarming. She was head down, breech, and she didn't really give us any great ultrasound pictures. I have a history of having small but healthy children, and as a result, was given many ultrasound scans, and our babies were watched carefully. However, when Claire arrived via my first C-section, my husband noticed that her eyes looked a bit different. However, he never had the urge to mention or think anything of it. The next day, March 16th, we would be smacked in the face with the news that she was essentially born blind. The next 15 days of our lives would be full of doctor's appointments. We were referred to cornea and glaucoma doctors, ophthalmologists, genetic doctors, and counselors, and neurologists, all here at the University of Iowa. An abundance of learning took place, a learning curve that Keegan and I didn't know that we were prepared for. All of this while I was recovering myself from her birth and us trying to stay afloat with our other 2 kids at home. Thankfully, we have a gracious extended family, and our boys were safe and loved during this mentally exhausting and time of uncertainty. As we visited with the doctors, we learned from the ophthalmology department at the University of Iowa that a cornea transplant would give Claire the best chance to see the world. We heard firsthand what the Iowa Lions Bank could do for us. All of the emotions were felt: hopeful, scared, and sad for the donor families that lost their loved ones. It was bittersweet feelings. On April 17th, Claire was just over a month old. All 5 pounds of her went under anesthesia and underwent a 4-hour cornea surgery here at the University of Iowa to replace both of her cloudy corneas. We were grasping at every chance to allow her to see the world. We prayed and held on to the hope that Dr. Kenneth Goins and his team would work with the Iowa Lions Eye Bank to choose what was best for Claire. We hoped and prayed that they had corneas that would benefit her. So many questions went through our head. Will she be able to see the color of our dog? Will she be able to see us smile at her? Will she be able to see the red concrete trucks go by that her brothers enjoy watching? What if she isn't able to see the steps on the playground like her brothers? The uncertainties engrossed our minds and went on and on and on. However, on that day of April 17th, we were given a glimpse of hope for our daughter Claire. With the generous donations of 2 families, our daughter has successfully had 3 years of seeing the world. The gift of sight, the gift of life, is a gift that we will forever cherish and be grateful for. After Claire received both of her corneas from 2 different donors, we wrote thank you letters to each family. As you know, at the beginning of this pandemic, it brought many uncertainties to us all. On one of these days, I stopped at the mailbox to pick up the mail. As an adult, it's never really exciting. Bills and junk are usually included. I will never forget sifting through the letters to find one reading Iowa Lions Eye Bank on the front of it. It stood out, and it made my heart stop. I carefully opened the envelope, and inside included a heartfelt letter back from one of our donor families. We learned about one of Claire's cornea donors and realized he had the love of music in his heart too, just as Claire does. They appreciated our letter, and during that time of sorrow and grief, it brought them hope. Hope that our daughter is now able to see the world through the cornea of their son. hope that we could one day meet each other and they could see their son's legacy living on in our family. Although our family feels as though thank you is not nearly enough, I would like to share the letter of thanks we wrote to the donor families shortly after Claire had her cornea transplants in April of 2018. Dear donor family, we are the family of a newborn that received a precious gift from your loved one. We are writing to express our sincere thanks for your unselfish gift, although it does not seem like enough. On March 15th, we welcomed our third child, a beautiful baby girl. We quickly learned that she would be needing a cornea transplant to give her the opportunity to have any vision. This precious gift that you unselfishly gave is a gift that we will treasure for a lifetime. Your family's generosity in a time of grief has given our daughter Claire the opportunity to see the world. This is life-changing and quite simply amazing. Claire is doing well and at 5 months has undergone many exams and doctor visits. However, she is a strong girl who loves music, bouncing in her chair, and listening to her two rowdy older brothers who are ages 4 and 2. At this time, there is no sign of rejection, and we pray that her body continues to accept the life-changing gift that you chose to give. We hope you find comfort in knowing that your loved one has touched our lives greatly and has granted a newborn child the chance to view the world through the life of your loved one's eyes. We hope to someday have the chance to give you a hug for the generous gift you gave during this difficult time. Although thank you doesn't seem like enough, thank you. And we hope that in receiving this, you will find peace and comfort knowing that your decision has helped so many others. Claire is now 3 years old, and she is here with me in the audience today. I'm not sure where they went. Oh, there she is back there with Dianna. She thought she should be able to come up here too. She's still strong. She still loves music. And she not only loves to listen to her two older brothers, but she is able to see and play right alongside with them. She even loves to boss them around every now and then. Because of the unselfish gift of life that our donors graciously gave, our daughter can see the world. We don't take this lightly, as we know the gift can be taken away in the blink of an eye. We hold on to the hope and relish in the progress that she has made because of the gift that she was so graciously given. Smiling when she notices the red mixer going by as fast as it can and saying, "I can see the red mixer." Noticing the lid that her mom can't find and saying, "Oh, silly mom, here's the lid." Pointing to the monarch butterfly in the sky and saying, "There it goes," as she watches it take its first big flight. You see, we love to collect monarch eggs and caterpillars from our own backyard. Our family views these butterflies as a symbol of a beautiful life and hope that's been given. Because of the Iowa Lions Eye Bank, and most importantly, the families choosing to donate life, our daughter is able to continue the legacy of 2 beautiful lives and have the opportunity to see the world. I, on behalf of my entire family, urge everybody to make sure that you've shared your choice of life donation with your family. We thank you to those of you that have chosen to give the gift of life, the gift of sight, and the gift of hope. Thank you.
Thank you, Dianna, for sharing your story with us. Jane Halladay currently resides in Alden, Iowa, although she was born and raised in Iowa Falls. After earning her Bachelor of Science degree from Wartburg College, she went on to receive her Master's from Northern Illinois University. Jane has spent her entire career working with young people. She's taught at a residential youth center for educated males, recreation center. Where she was a high school science teacher. Jane married her husband, Matt, in 2004, and describes him as a gentle soul who loved people, could talk So when a call came from the Lions Eye Bank after Matt's passing in December of 2018, I was thrilled to be able to say yes. This is despite the fact that it was 4:30 in the morning and I had just lost my husband. But I knew I had his blessing to say yes. Matt often described himself as a jack of all trades and a master of none. He was a carpenter, he was a gardener, a landscaper, a photographer, an outdoorsman, a wood carver, a motorcyclist, a traveler, a father, a grandfather, and a husband. He had a kind and gentle disposition and was loved by all who knew him. He was introduced to what I call Iowa nice when he moved from Pennsylvania to Iowa in 1999. He'd gone to our local Walmart store to get a few items, and on his return, he said to me, "The strangest thing just happened at Walmart. I was standing in the aisle looking for what I needed, and this guy just started talking to me. I have no idea who he was." And I said, "Welcome to Iowa, Matt." Ironically, he became that unknown man from Walmart because Matt could and would talk to anyone, anywhere. After his passing, a neighbor stopped by and told me how much he would miss their backyard conversations. He said that unlike other people, Matt never made him feel stupid and never talked down to him. I later found out that this gentleman had never learned to read and write. This is a testament to Matt's ability to make everyone feel valued and worthy. Following Matt's passing, I wondered about the individuals who had received his corneas. Who were they? What were they like? Was the transplant successful? I was thrilled to get a letter from Dennis, one of the recipients, who expressed heartfelt gratitude for the donation and willingly shared his story. We have exchanged correspondences, and through our letters, I have learned how much this man has in common with Matt. One commonality is the love of photography. Matt definitely had an eye for a great photo opportunity, and in one letter from Dennis wrote, and I quote, "My family and I send to you our gratitude and appreciation for the generous, life-changing gift of sight from Matt, and the very thoughtful note bringing his generous life into focus for us. I will attempt to appreciate the beauty of the universe from Matt's perspective and see the extraordinary in the ordinary," unquote. My home is full of Matt's framed photographs, proof of his ability to see the extraordinary in the ordinary. I never would have thought there was beauty in an old rusted truck or a dandelion that had gone to seed. I am comforted in knowing that Dennis is now able to witness and capture the unending beauty that Matt saw in the world around him. Thank you all so much for the opportunity to share Matt's story. I am a strong proponent of organ donation because in doing so, a part of our loved ones are given to others, and there is great comfort for me in knowing that Matt has given the gift of sight to someone else. So thank you. Thank you, Jane, for allowing us to get to know Matt. Dr. Keith Carter is the Lillian C. O'Brien and Dr. C.S. O'Brien Chair in Ophthalmology and Professor of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences at the University of Iowa Carver College of Medicine and University of Iowa Hospitals and Clinics. He's been a faculty member here since 1988. Dr. Carter was appointed Chair of the Department of Ophthalmology and Visual Sciences on January 1st, 2006. He's the past president of both the American Academy of Ophthalmology and the Association of University Professors of Ophthalmology, and he's been listed as one of America's top doctors numerous times. Please welcome Dr. Carter.
Thanks, Esther. It shows you last long enough, they'll say good things about you. And so I'm very appreciative of that. My mother will really appreciate that. But it just means you've been around a long time. Welcome, everyone. We couldn't ask for better weather. And it's always nice to participate in this ceremony because it's our opportunity to give thanks to the donors and, more importantly, to the donors' families for their support and the work we do. My predecessor, Dr. Braley, in 1955, the year I was born, had the vision to establish the eye bank, and has been working great ever since. He would be so proud of where we are today. Even though we were starting cornea transplantation back in the 50s and 60s, what we do today is totally different and advanced than what they were doing before. We're studying the cellular mechanisms of our tissues, how we can preserve, how we can make their energy levels better, how we can make tissues last longer, and that's all going to help people get their restored vision and enjoy the gifts of these donations. Even more importantly, we're able to get donor tissue that doesn't go to transplant but for research. And because of our eye bank is so well run, we're able to get fresh tissue so we can look at the mechanisms of diseases that are blinding us and better understand it so we can replace these cells in the future. And we're very close to actually replacing cells in the eye that can then restore your vision. So looking forward to that. I hope I last long enough for that to happen. My first experience with eye banking came when I was a resident at the University of Michigan, and one of the duties we had on call was to log all the donor tissue that came in. And I remember many nights getting up, greeting state patrolmen at the front door, and logging the tissue. And I was fortunate enough to be on a corneal rotation at the time and seeing this tissue used to benefit patients immensely and how happy they were to be able to see. And as we think of seeing, we're talking about sharp 20/20 vision. These people are fortunate and happy to see you moving across the room. Eventually they like to get to 20/40, 20/20, but they were happy just to see images and their loved ones. And it's amazing how far we've come from the time I was doing that to now. I remember we graduated to go out into the community and harvest tissue. And I remember my wife wanted to go with me, and I told her she didn't want to go with me, but she insisted on going with me. She only made one trip. And we went out and went into the communities and different hospitals and harvested tissue. And it gave you an appreciation of what sacrifices families were doing at that time, because we had to talk to families and get permission. And to get permission at that time is very hard sometimes, because family, that's not the top thing on their mind when they're grieving their loss of their loved one, us coming to them asking permission to harvest tissue. But because of their bravery, we were able to do it. And because of your bravery, we're able to continue to do what we do today. And I want to thank you. Going forward, I think there's a lot of things that are going to get better. I think our research is going to lead us to discoveries that you all will be proud of. Even corneal transplantation is going to be better going down the road. We need to thank the Iowa Lions for their dedication since 1955 in supporting this eye bank. We want to thank the staff at eye bank under the leadership of Esther, our executive director. We want to thank you and your families. We want to thank all the staff at UIHC to help us out. We have gifted surgeons, like a couple of them in the back there, that perform these surgeries. Unfortunately, I'm not that gifted. I don't perform these surgeries. But I appreciate their work and support them wholeheartedly. It's been fun as my tenure as chair to see the growth of the eye bank. But more importantly, it's been fun to hear the stories of people we've helped. That's more gratifying than anything else. And it's only because of you we're able to do this. So thank you and God bless.
They tell me of a
Alliance Donor Memorial and Healing Garden commemorates the courage and selflessness of Iowa's eye, organ, and tissue donors and their families. The Donor Memorial's theme of hope, renewal, and transformation pays tribute to the tens of thousands of donors over the years who've transformed countless lives through their final gifts of sight, life, and mobility to recipients in need. We're very grateful to the families who purchased the commemorative pavers that we dedicate today, honoring loved ones who are gone but will never be forgotten. I'm privileged to share the following tributes written by the families of Paul and Jerry Ryan, Connie Gilliland, and Edward King. Would the family of Paul and Jerry Ryan please stand for a moment and be recognized? Here are some words written by the family of Paul and Jerry Ryan. This commemorative paver will be a special way to remember our parents, Paul and Jerry Ryan from Dubuque, Iowa. For all 7 of us, their children, for their 10 grandchildren, and for their 3 great-grandchildren, this will be a very special memorial to them. Our parents were hardworking people and believed in giving back to the community they lived in. Those qualities and passions were instilled in all of us. When our dad, Paul, died in 2002 from lung cancer, we were blessed to learn that he could donate his corneas for transplant to others. Our mom, Jerry, died suddenly in 2020, and we knew she would have wanted to do the same. Unfortunately, due to circumstances surrounding her death, we were unable to fulfill her wish. Approximately 5 years ago, Jerry asked me, her daughter Patty, if I would accompany her to the Iowa Lions Eye Bank to see the donor family quilts of memories on display there, including the quilt that held the handmade square Jerry had made in memory of our dad. Our mother was an amazing quilter and loved making quilt squares for special projects like this. So we drove from Dubuque to Coralville to meet with ILEB's Family Services Coordinator, Deb, whom Jerry had been in contact with to schedule our visit. Seeing each of the donor family quilts on display was a heartening and wonderful experience. We noticed that Dad's original quilt square had faded because another quilt was in the process of being put together and in need of a couple additional squares. We were offered the opportunity for Mom to create another handmade tribute to our dad. Deb was able to share more information about the recipients of Dad's corneas. This meant so much to my mom and me. We were also given a bronze donor medallion and a beautiful leaf keepsake, personalized with Dad's name. Deb explained that neither of these family service projects were in place when our dad died in 2002. In July of 2019, we made another trip to Iowa Lions Eye Bank with more of my siblings and a few grandchildren of Paul and Jerry. During this visit, we toured the lab area and were very impressed with the internal operations of the eye bank. Our eye bank experience reinforced our decision to donate Dad's corneas during a difficult time, and knowing that 2 people benefited from that decision continues to provide us healing and hope. This commemorative paver will be a permanent testimony to our parents' commitment to community service and helping others. Today, we honor the lives of Paul and Jerry Ryan, their legacy, their example, and their memory through the dedication of this commemorative paver, and the chosen inscription reads, "In loving memory of Paul and Jerry Ryan, Dubuque, Iowa." Would the family of Connie Gilliland please stand and be recognized? Here are some words written by the family of Connie Gilliland. Connie Jean Gilliland was born October 8, 1951 in Nebraska City, Nebraska. Connie lived on a farm until the age of 12. Her mother then moved the family to Syracuse, Nebraska, where Connie attended a one-room country school. Several years later, their family moved again, this time to Lincoln, where Connie graduated from high school and earned her degree from the University of Nebraska-Lincoln College of Education and Human Sciences. Anyone who knew Connie realized that she was a multi-talented lady. She was a wonderful mother and dedicated teacher. Connie was a talented seamstress, developing her skills working with flowers, both indoors and out, and was an excellent cook, which her husband Joe and their 3 sons would attest to. As a fearless farm wife, she was unafraid of taking on any farm chores or tasks. She helped process newborn baby pigs, hauled grain, furrowed the crops for irrigation, and frequently ran the hay baler. But Connie's greatest talent, and admittedly her favorite, was teaching. She taught students of all ages, from preschool through secondary level, developing positive relationships with her students and encouraging their love for learning. In 1994, after struggling for many years with progressive loss of vision in both eyes, Connie was diagnosed with a genetic eye disease called Fuchs corneal dystrophy. In 2018, she received a corneal transplant in each eye, and the outcomes of these transplants far exceeded her expectations. Connie's vision improved to 20/20, and her husband Joe described her as being like a toddler on Christmas morning, discovering the wonderful gifts of clear images. In July of 2018, a couple of months after her first transplant, Connie wrote a letter to the family of her donor. I am so thankful someone wanted to donate a cornea, because without donors, I would not be where I am today. With heartfelt gratitude and respect, I say thank you so very much. Connie died on September 2nd, 2020, at the age of 68. Today we honor Connie's life, her legacy, her example, and her memory through the dedication of this commemorative paver. The chosen inscription reads, "Your mind is a garden. Your thoughts are the seeds. You can grow flowers, or you can grow weeds." In memory of Connie Gilliland. Unfortunately, due to circumstances beyond their control, the family of our next commemorative paver is unable to be with us today. But here are some words from the family of Edward King. Ed King was a talented wildlife artist since he was a young boy, a professional draftsman for more than 35 years, and a lifelong resident of Cedar Rapids, Iowa. When his vision began to deteriorate later in life, his ophthalmologist diagnosed his eye disease as Fuchs corneal dystrophy, a devastating diagnosis for both Ed and his family. His routine daily activities, including his painting and his photography, were put on hold indefinitely, but fortunately his story did not end there. Through what Ed referred to as great doctors and caring eye donors, he received the gift of restored vision in August of 2010 and November of 2011. Bilateral corneal transplants allowed him to complete his first wildlife painting in over 5 years. Ed said it best when he expressed his heartfelt gratitude in written thank you letters to both of his donor families. Words cannot express what your loved one's gift of sight has meant to me and my family. Their gift has given my sight and my life a bright future. As a grateful recipient, he often talked about how honored he was when asked to speak about his experience at numerous Iowa Alliance Eye Bank events. He was truly humbled and greatly enjoyed supporting this organization. Ed passed away in May 2019 at the age of 86. Upon hearing this news, one of Ed's dear friends at the Iowa Alliance Eye Bank described him as a man who did so much to share his gratitude for the gift of sight and saw all the good in this world through those loving eyes. Ed meant so much to so many, and the Iowa Alliance Eye Bank family meant so much to him. Ed's family remains forever grateful to his cornea donors and the Eye Bank for Ed's restored vision. Today we honor Ed's life, his legacy and example, and his memory through the dedication of this commemorative paver, and the chosen inscription reads, "In memory of Edward King, grateful for the gift of sight to see the beauty in nature." And now would the staff of Iowa Alliance Eye Bank please stand. Our final commemorative paver, and I hope those of you who are here will have a chance to walk around and see these new pavers. The paver that we dedicate today is in honor of the Iowa Alliance Eye Bank, as today's ceremony is also the culmination of our year-long celebration of our 65th anniversary. Since our inception in 1955, Iowa Alliance Eye Bank has been committed to preserving and restoring sight in Iowa, across the United States, and the world. During the past 6.5 decades, more than 30,000 Iowans have donated their eyes and corneas for transplant and research, restoring sight to Iowans as well as others beyond our borders. Despite all the complications of the past year, 790 generous Iowa donors provided corneal tissue for 652 grateful recipients in 2020. Additional gifted corneas were used for research and educational purposes to advance knowledge of blinding diseases and transplantation techniques. Today we honor, we remember, and we exemplify every one of our donors, and our chosen inscription, after having a contest amongst our staff to choose the inscription for our paver, reads, "To those who used their darkest hour to gift light to others." And now to conclude our celebration, I'd like to share these moving words written by Sylvan Kamens and Rabbi Jack Reimer, entitled, We Remember Them. At the rising sun and its going down, we remember them. At the blowing of the wind and in the chill of winter, we remember them. At the opening of the buds and the rebirth of spring, we remember them. At the blueness of the skies and the warmth of summer, we remember them. At the rustling of the leaves and the beauty of the autumn, we remember them. At the beginning of the year and when it ends, we remember them. As long as we live, they too will live, for they are now a part of us, as we remember them. When we are weary and in need of strength, we remember them. When we are lost and sick at heart, we remember them. When we have decisions that are difficult to make, we remember them. When we have joy we crave to share, we remember them. When we have achievements that are based on theirs, we remember them. For as long as we live, they too will live, for they are now part of us, as we remember them. At this time, we ask that you please reflect on the names of the altruistic donors acknowledged on the insert within your ceremony program. These names were provided by the families invited here today so that we may honor their loved ones' final gifts of sight, life, and healing, as well as answers through research by way of donation at the end of life's journey. These acknowledgments also pay tribute to the donor families who had the strength and courage to make or support the decision to donate at a very difficult time in their lives. We hope that donation has become the bridge of comfort and hope between one family's grieving and another family's healing, turning tragedy into renewed life. We ask for a few moments of silence as we reflect and remember. In closing, we offer our sincere thanks to all of today's speakers and participants for sharing their time, talents, and testimonials with everyone. And before you leave, just a couple reminders. Deb has asked me to remind the families of the newly dedicated pavers to please allow our photographer, Scott, to take photos of you and your guests near your loved one's commemorative paver if you've not done so already. And a reminder to our friends and guests that refreshments will be distributed on your way past the ILEB staff at both exits as you leave today's ceremony for you to enjoy on your way home in accordance with current UI healthcare policies. Thank you all once again for being here with us today.